Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
Former Bulacan Assistant Engineer Bryce Hernandez accused Senators Jinggoy Estrada and Joel Villanueva of receiving kickbacks from flood control projects.
Senators Jinggoy Estrada and Joel Villanueva deny receiving kickbacks from flood control projects.
Davao City Representative Paulo Duterte defends his district's flood control projects amid alleged budget discrepancies.
DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon raised concerns over substandard and alleged ghost flood control projects in Oriental Mindoro and vowed that those responsible will be held accountable. First in the news, Senators Jinggoy Estrada and Joel Villanueva categorically denied allegations by former Bulacan 1st District Assistant Engineer Bryce Hernandez, who accused them of receiving kickbacks from flood control projects. Mobile journalist Arles de los Santos has the story.
Your Honor, wala po.
Sigurado ka. Safe ka na.
Sigurado po.
I resent that statement, Mr. Chair. I resent that statement. Safe ka na.
This moment from Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing has since gone viral. It was after Contractor Pacifico Curly Discaya was asked whether any senators were involved in any anomalous flood control projects. But at this House Infrastructure Committee hearing, DPWH Bulacan's former Assistant District Engineer implicated not just one, but two senators, plus a couple more DPWH officials into the mess.
Si Senator Jinggoy Ejercito Estrada, Senator Joel Villanueva, Yusek Robert Bernardo, at D. Alcantara. Si Senator Jinggoy po ay nagbaba ng 355 million ngayong 2025 sa mga ilang projects sa Bulacan. Noong 2023 naman, ay naglabas ng 600 million si Senator Joel Villanueva.
According to Hernandez, his boss, disgraced DPWH District Engineer Henry Alcantara, told him their commitment was 30% of the contract prices to the aforementioned senators. To prove this, Hernandez showed photos of wads of cash they allegedly prepared for the lawmakers.
Sa tambayan po namin yan eh. So yan po dyan po pine-prepare yung mga pera na for delivery with regard sa mga proponent na kausap ni Boss Henry Alcantara.
He even showed selfies of Estrada with Alcantara, allegedly taken during a senator's birthday at the hotel.
Engineer Henry Alcantara and Senator Jinggoy Estrada have met a couple of times. Yan po, sabi po nila, hindi po sila magkakilala. Baka naman po fan lang siya. And they appear super close, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Please proceed. Next picture, please.
As for Villanueva, fellow DPWH Bulacan engineer JP Mendoza showed screenshots of Viber exchanges, allegedly with Villanueva. He said these messages were set to disappear after being read. In this, Villanueva allegedly asked for additional multi-purpose buildings. Mendoza claimed he had been told by Alcantara to take a photo of the conversation. But Alcantara denied all the accusations, saying he had no personal connections to either of the two senators. As for the photos of the money, Alcantara insisted they weren't bribes or kickbacks.
Your Honor, yung pera po na yun, nasa bahay na po yun, I think po, yan po ay pera ng contractor po na nakolekta, nagamit ang ibang lisensya, doon lang po dinala, at nagkatuwaan po na picturean po yan.
Asked for his side, Estrada sent a message to reporters categorically denying all these allegations. Later on, he held a press conference at the Senate angrily lashing out at Hernandez.
Galit talaga ako. Talaga napamura ako. Napakasinungaling nitong taong to. Because first of all, hindi ko siya kilala.
May picture kayo ni DPWH Engineer Alcantara, sir? Do you remember that, sir, when it was taken?
I do not know. I cannot recall that event. Pero sa dami naman nagpapapicture sa akin. Hindi ko naman pwede tanggihan.
Estrada also insisted he never endorsed the funding of 355 million pesos to fund projects in Bulacan. He said these are among the line items in the 2025 budget for which anyone could be accused of inserting. Estrada also vowed to press charges against the engineer.
I will ensure that Mr. Hernandez
is held accountable for perjury.
Villanueva, for his part, thinks he is being implicated because he has with him affidavits of some DPWH engineers that are supposed to be brought to the committee hearing. Villanueva insisted he is not hiding anything and said he's ready to face any investigation.
Wala po ako kailanman naging flood control project. Hindi ko po sasabihin na I categorically deny this accusation. Dahil po may resibo po tayo. Meron po pwedeng i-verifika kung bakit ito nangyayari.
To discuss these revelations and developments, we have Quezon City 4th District Representative Bong Suntay. Good morning, Congressman. Thank you for joining us.
Congressman?
Yan.
Can you hear us okay?
Good morning. Good morning.
Yan, good morning, Kong. Well, of course, thank you for joining us, first of all. And I'd like to ask you about yung, of course, explosive statement ni Bryce Hernandez, no? Of course, prior to that, the day before, I think, was his Senate appearance in the Senate. So did all the congressmen in the committee have an idea what he was going to say and who he was going to implicate?
So actually, we never had an idea kung ano yung sasabihan niya. Of course, ang nakakalungkot lang dito, hindi natin, while revealing yung mga testimony, we need to really know yung veracity at saka yung truthfulness ng mga statements. Kasi baka pinag-aaway lang ang mga congressman at mga senador.
Yes.
Dahil nandun sa Senate hearing, ang mga binanggit, puro pangalan ng congressman. Ngayon, dito naman sa House hearing, ang binabanggit naman, mga pangalan ng senador. But one thing is consistent, may involvement ang mga opisyales sa DPWH at meron talaga mga ghost projects at substandard na projects na ginagawa ang mga contractors.
But taking from what you said, Congressman, how are we going to authenticate itong mga, let's say, the pictures and yung photo din ng supposedly conversation coming from Senator Joel Villanueva?
Alam mo, okay, certain documents, certain evidence has been gathered by both committees sa Senate at saka sa House.
Right.
Ako, wag nang hintayin matapos eh. Whatever evidence we have, whatever, yung kung ano mang resibo ang hawak-hawak ng mga sa Senado at dito sa Kongreso, let's start filing cases against people na meron naman tayong ebidensya that will stand in court. Wag na natin hintayin matapos kung ano mang investigasyon. Kung dito naman unti-unti na natin makikita who is most na kung sino ang pwedeng simulan ng kasuhan that with sufficient evidence. Dahil for example, yung mga ghost projects may nakita na yan ng Pangulo natin, na verifika na rin ni Secretary Vince Dizon, nakita na rin ng media. Now, sino gumawa ng mga ghost project na yan at sino nakapirma dyan sa mga kontrata ng proyekto na yan, then kasuhan natin yun. Because that's sufficient evidence that will stand in court.
That's
diba?
right.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kong. But we're talking about also the involvement of several politicians here, congressmen and senators. So, do you think itong mga cash photos with cash, yung mga conversations sa phone, will carry the weight base sa investigation?
You know, everyone should be held accountable, both elected and appointed. Kaya nagiging blatant ang korupsyon dito sa bansa natin dahil nawawala ng accountability. Let's hold people accountable. Now, kagaya ng madali maglista ng pangalan, madali mag-name drop ng pangalan. Pero merong mga ebidensya naman kagaya ng sinabi ni Diskaya, meron siyang binigyan ng pera na siya mismo yung nag-abot. Tinanong ko, ano yung proof niyan? Madaming witness nang nakakita. Then let's bring that to court. Di ba?
Pero kung ano yung to appreciate yung statement in Diskaya sa Senado, no? Madami nagsasabi, how come it focused daw on a singular year instead of spanning throughout yung starting off where they started yung flood control projects. I understand, Arroyo time pa sila nag-start
Yeah, well, yun rin yung tinanong ko. Sinabi ko nga, 23 years ka nang nangongontrata. Then I assume yung mga kalakaran at experiences would be the same throughout that 23 years. Then, kaya nga hinihingi ko sa kanya, nasaan yung ano, I requested the committee to secure from Undersecretary Cabral all the contracts that were awarded to not only Diskaya but all the other contractors para makita natin.
Yes.
Let's verify all those projects. Even to, wag lang itong top 15 contractors na binanggit ng Presidente. Total, nagpapa-audit na naman ang mga proyekto at saka mga programa na ginawa ang DPWH Then,
That's right.
let's hold those people accountable. Now, with regards to yung statement ni Diskaya, why he limited it to 2022 to 2025, ang sinasabi niya, dahil raw doon na lang naging parang malaki yung hingian, at dahil raw doon sa 3-strike rule, parang nape-pressure na sila ng RD at saka ng DE.
But Kung, speaking of the Diskayas, paano po ba namin dapat tanggapin itong mga sinasabi po nila? Kasi nung nasa Senado po sila, yung hearing doon, mga congressmen ang kanilang tinuturo. Nung sila po ay nasa inyo kahapon sa hearing, mga senador naman yung kanilang mga tinuturo. So paano po namin tatanggapin itong mga allegations nila? Tapos kahapon po, na-check din po ni Congressman Terry Ridon na yung notaryo po ay expired ng kanilang mga affidavit.
No. Okay, ganito yan. Yung mga Diskaya naman was consistent. Ang tinuturo nila kung ano yung nasa statement nila.
Yes.
Ang nag-mention ng mga senador was si yung Assistant District Engineer Bryce Hernandez. So that statement came from him, not from the Diskayas. With regards to the affidavit, if you saw the hearing, actually, it doesn't matter kung paso yung notarial certificate nung nag-notarize ng statement. Because hearings conducted by both houses, yung mga witness are sworn under oath to attest to the veracity and truthfulness of the statements and that they will make. The questions being propounded was with regards to the contents of the statements. Kaya nga nung ako yung nag-question, pina-identify ko muna yung statement, yung affidavit na ginawa ng mga Diskaya. Pina-identify ko kung sino nakapirma at sinabi naman ng Diskaya sa kanya raw yan at sa asawa niya. So, pinaswear ko siya under oath. He was already sworn under oath. Sinabi ko, if he attests to the veracity and truthfulness nung contents nung naturang statement at sinabi niya, oo, then that will hold.
Okay.
That will hold water.
Alright.
Yung isang sabi nila very critical to this whole story is Bryce Hernandez, and I think si Congressman Jokno asked him if he was willing to waive both to allow his phone records and his bank records to be scrutinized, and pumayag siya. Now, after the committee, did he still decide na tuloy pa rin yung mangyayaring yan, or nag-iba po isip niya?
You know, after the committee hearing, hindi na napag-usapan yun I guess kung pumayag siya, then ipapasupinan na lang those documents.
Ang hindi pumayag si Henry Alcantara, if I can remember it correctly.
Si Henry Alcantara ang hindi pumayag.
Oo, okay. Alright, so may mga nabanggit din po sa revelasyon ni Senator Ping Lacson yesterday, yung connection po ni former DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan sa ilang mga flood control projects, namely po yung kanyang daughter. So I was wondering kung maimbitahan po muli itong si former Secretary Bonoan para po linawin itong mga issue na ito.
Well, I guess that will be up to the Infracom kung iimbitahin nila. But to get to the bottom of these things, then we can invite. But alam mo, the hearings conducted by both houses, sa Senate at saka dito sa Congress, sa House, are in aid of legislation. In fact, hindi naman dapat kami investigative body. Dapat ang ginagawa natin, yung mga hearings na yan, is we gather yung mga data with regards to yung mga nangyayari so that proper legislations can be made. Anong nakita natin dun sa hearing kagabi, kahapon? Nakita natin na nagkakaroon ng ghost project. Bakit nagkakaroon ng ghost projects? There should be proper checks and balances.
Correct.
Paano nangyayari na ang kontratang awarded na dapat ini-inspect ng mga kawani ng DPWH na pipirmahan na inspected, na completed, na hindi
Exactly.
naman pala completed.
That's right, oo.
Then there is a failure in that particular process. Then legislation should be made to correct those things. And kagaya ng sinabi ko, we should start holding people accountable. Kagaya nung tinanong ko si Alcantara, bakit mo pinirmahan? Sabi niya, ano lang raw umasa raw siya dun sa report ng BAC, which is wrong because that's his responsibility to check.
All right. And having...
Now,
Go ahead po.
ang isa pang revealing nun, nakita mo yung pera. Nung tinanong ko, ano yung pera na yon? Paano sa contractor raw? Paano binabayaran yung contractor? Ang contractor, dinideposito raw in the name of the amount, in the name of the company. So bakit cash?
That's
Bakit
right.
may cash doon?
Right.
It's unlikely na kung may kumpanya ka, binayaran ka, i-encash mo yung pera. Ang sabi niya, hindi, dahil naghahatian daw yung mga contractor. Then that's a no-no. Bakit naghahatian? A winning bidder, a winning contractor, bakit niya ihahati sa ibang contractor yung pera? Baka raw may joint venture. So hindi raw niya alam kung ano na pag-usapan. Sabi ko, paano hindi mo malalaman kung anong pinag-usapan? Because kung winning bidder yon, nakalagay yon. Kung joint venture o kung anong kumpanya na award yung kontrata, hindi rin raw niya alam dahil he relied on yung back raw.
Ayun
Sabi
po.
ko, pero ikaw pumirma dun sa kontrata
That's right, oo.
Hindi mo binasa?
Kaya nga kung inabanggit din ni Senator Ping Lacson about yung binanggit niyo po yung process na walang accountability, no? May nabanggit siyang project na completed daw within just a few months and technically daw kahit napakalaki ng kumpanya, hindi kaya tapusin yung ganun na proyekto in just a few months para makuha ang bayaran. Ang question po dito, meron bang existing law ngayon that will grant i-review bago i-release pag medyo dubious yung time frame? Kasi ang question dito... Yeah.
Alam mo,
Go ahead, Kong.
there are existing laws and procedures which are in place.
Actually.
Obviously, these existing laws and procedures are not being implemented dahil may mga inspection yan Kaya nga ang tinatawag ang progress billing ang bayad sa kontraktor. Ibig sabihin, i-inspectionin muna yung proyekto tapos depende doon sa accomplishment, doon nagre-release ng kaukulang bayad. Hindi naman lump sum ang bayad sa mga kontraktor But obviously, yung mga nag-i-inspect are also in cahoots dahil sinecertify nila yung accomplishment kahit walang accomplishment.
Exactly.
And this is from the DPWH side, Kong, no? Hindi ba pwedeng isama ang COA dyan para may dalawang agency ang nag-certify?
Alam mo, ang COA kasi post-audit ang tinatawag.
That's right,
Ang kalakaran ng COA sa atin ino-audit nila pagkatapos. Kaya nga dapat dito, merong pre-audit, merong post-audit. Di ba? Bago simulan ng proyekto, tignan muna ng COA kung tama yung mga presyong nilagay, kung saan mapupunta yung pera. Tapos noon, pagka natapos yung proyekto, i-audit ulit ng COA kung kumpleto yung mga gamit na kung lahat ng naka-program of works talagang was implemented.
Well, so usapin pa din po ng in aid of legislation nyo po dyan sa Congress hearing. Simula po nung pumutok itong issue na to, ang nakita po natin ay finger pointing between the officials of DPWH and of course yung ating mga nakaupo din sa pwesto. Dahil sinasabi po nila hindi nakikipag-coordinate ang DPWH sa LGU, etc. Are we also looking at something po para ma-reform itong process na to? Para pagdating po ng panahon, wala na po talagang turuan. Alam na natin kung sino talaga yung accountable.
There are already existing laws with regards to yung coordination between the national government and the local government pagdating dito sa mga proyektong ito. Madaling magsabi na hindi kino-coordinate pero makakagawa ka ba, lalo na pag malaking proyekto? Makakagawa ba sa isang lugar, sa isang syudad,
Na
sa
may
isang probinsya na hindi
doon, hindi
nalalaman
mo
ng
alam.
nakaupo? Di ba, pag kami nagtayo nga ng bahay, biglang subukan mong pa-renovate yung bahay mo, biglang may inspector ang
Mag-inspect.
engineering department ang
True.
agad-agad na pupunta doon at tatanungin, may building permit ka ba?
Oo.
Yeah. That's why,
Bahay lang yan,
That's true.
I wanted to ask kasi about that, Congressman. We spoke to Mayor Strike Revilla a few weeks back and he was saying, ang DPWH daw pag gumagawa, nagpapadala naman daw ng document pero FYI, hindi daw nag-a-apply ng permit. Sabi niya mag-apply naman daw sila ng permit sana kasi libre naman daw yun.
O yun. Then that is ano na, 'di ba? That is a lookout of the local government. Ang ibig ko sabihin, pagka nagpadala ng notice sa na may gagawin doon, then wag dapat pasimulan ng LGU kung hindi nag-apply ng building permit, di ba?
Tama.
Well, nga po pala nung first day of hearing ng Infracom a week ago, if I'm not mistaken, nabanggit nga po yung pag-declare po ng ilang mga congressman regarding po sa conflict of interest. Meron na po bang nag-declare na para mag-recuse po sa hearing dahil po sa conflict of interest? Maaring conflict of interest?
Wala pa eh. Wala pa.
Kailan po yung
But,
deadline ng submission?
Alam mo, dapat yan may mag-follow up dyan eh. And well ako para sa akin, pag may conflict of interest, talagang no-no yan. Nakasaad naman sa batas yan eh. Kaya ang mga mamabatas, hindi dapat nangungontrata rin sa gobyerno, di ba? Talagang that's a blatant and very obvious conflict of interest. Kasi may nagsasabi, hindi, nag-ano naman ako eh, nag-divest na ako eh. Pero there are also laws with regards to beneficial interest na kahit mag-divest ka, it's very easy to prove kung talagang may interest ka pa rin o ikaw pa rin yung beneficial owner. Pero dito nga sa atin, ang problema, we have good laws pero hindi na i-implement yung magagandang batas.
Sabi nga natin, hindi naman
wala
tayo
rin nagiging accountability.
Yes.
Alam mo, bakit nagiging rampant o blatant ang corruption? May nakita ka na bang nakakulong?
Merong nakulong, tapos pag nag-iba yung administrasyon, nakakawala.
And lumalakas ang loob.
Diba? And of course, syempre, sabi nga natin, di naman tayo pinanganak kahapon lang. Alam naman natin, nagiging kalakaran kapag nag-divest susunod, alam naman natin na meron pa rin silang hand in that. But speaking of divest na issue po, si Congressman Zaldico, we all know he's in the US at nagpapagamot, may medical check-up doon. Kayo po ba ay pabor na siya ay dapat po sagutin yung mga allegations po against him? At saka of course yung usapin po ng national budget last year.
Well, alam mo, because I cannot speak with regards to the national budget last year because I was not a member of Congress during the 19th Congress. Pero akin, I would suggest that he speaks up, di ba? Sagutin niya yung mga paratang na binabato sa kanya. Dahil kung if he is innocent at wala naman siyang ginawa, then that can be easily answered.
Okay, sa usapin po of course ng leadership change sa Congress. Yan po ay pinag-uusapan na over the weekend pa. Nangyari po ang leadership change sa Senado. Diyan po ba sa Congress may ganun
May
din
bulong-bulungan ba, Kong, na possibility?
Well, pagdating dito sa House, wala pang bumubulong sa akin.
Wala pa.
But alam mo, yung usap-usapan ng leadership change, that has always existed.
That's right.
Even when I was in the 18th Congress, ang inabutan ko sa 18th Congress, 2 leadership change eh.
Right.
But laging may bulong-bulungan as to kung mangyayari o hindi. You know, leadership changes naman depending on the consent of the President. At the end of the day, lahat nagtatanong sa Presidente kung okay ba o hindi.
Yeah. Lastly, on my part, Kong, I'd like to ask kasi madaming nagsasabi, iba-ibang luminaries and analysts na parang, binanggit nyo rin kanina, na parang nagtuturoan kasi ang House saka ang Senado. So ngayon, regarding yung Truth Commission na supposedly tinatayo ni PBBM, ni Pangulong Marcos, are you in favor of that and giving them more powers aside from recommendatory?
Yes. Alam mo, nung una pa lang, after the SONA pa lang, nung tinanong ako, sinabi ko na should be an independent body that should investigate these things. It cannot be the Senate, it cannot be the House. Dahil how can you investigate yourself? What we do is we could conduct hearings in aid of legislation. But to investigate wrongdoings, that is better left to the courts or that is better left to an independent body to really para walang question. Kaya kita mo anong sinasabi ng tao, syempre magtatakipan lang yan. So to avoid all those things, let an independent body investigate.
Totoo yan. I agree with you, Kong. And lastly po, doon sa usapin po ng budget. Budget season po kasi ngayon eh. May iba po nagsasabi ng mga lawmakers ay dapat daw po wag na muna bigyan ang DPWH ng project. Do you agree on that?
No, alam mo, hindi naman yan eh. You know, we we cannot burn the entire house just because meron tayong meron daga sa loob ng bahay. Kagaya, there is still flooding. There are drainages that needs to be done. There are some construction works, roads that needs to be constructed. Pagka hindi mo bibigyan ng budget, yung paano na yan? Hayaan natin mag-suffer yung mga tao. Ang kailangan natin is bantayan ng mabuti kung saan napupunta yung pera. Mas madali gawin yung magbantay. Total, everyone is now made aware. Kagaya, alam mo, it's not only the responsibility of both elected or appointed officials, it's also the responsibility of the people. Maganda nga ngayon everyone is conscious about it. Bantayan natin yung mga proyekto, then magreklamo tayo. Baka may nakita tayong katiwalian. With social media, with the power of social media, ang dali-dali pa viral ng katiwalian.
Kung sagarin ko na, since you're here na rin, one last question po. Si Congressman Toby Tiangco, in a rare instance, lumabas po siya sa Senado. Paano po ba tinanggap po ito ng Congress? Na sinasabi po kasi ng iba, doon sa Senado, nakakapagsalita siya.
Well, that has always been Toby. Alam mo, si Toby is very independent-minded. Mula pa nung 14th Congress, gano'n na siya. He speaks his mind out at saka, he does not mince word. He calls a spade a spade. Okay. So, doon sa mga nakakakilala sa kanya, tanggap siya. Tanggap na gano'n talaga siya. At naman siya, he mince word. Para sa akin,
Sabay tawa si Kong. Alright, hindi na po namin kayo patatagalin pa. Hindi na po namin patatagalin pa. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Quezon City 4th District Representative Bong Suntay.
Maraming salamat din. Thank you very much.
Alright, revelations came one after another at the House Infrastructure Committee hearing, with former DPWH officials and contractors linking senators to alleged flood control anomalies. The details in this report by Mobile Journal, Arles de los Santos.
In a span of 7 hours, revelations came after another in the second hearing of House Infrastructure Committee. Former Bulacan Assistant District Engineer Bryce Hernandez revealed that Senators Jinggoy Estrada and Joel Villanueva have knowledge in the anomalous flood control projects, with both senators allotting hundreds of millions with 30% SOP. Contractor Pacifico Curly Discaya, owner of 9 companies who collectively secured 30 billion pesos in flood control projects, also attended. Lawmakers interpolated Discaya on his claim that they earn little to almost nothing in their government projects that almost got him cited for contempt. He confirmed that he was encouraged by his wife to divulge the list of names of lawmakers in the Senate, as she just wants peace. The topic for the couple to be state witnesses have been repeatedly mentioned in the hearing, with Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto warning that the Discayas were angling to become state witnesses. However, Representative Terry Ridon, co-chair of House Infrastructure Committee, later confirmed to the reporters after the hearing that Discayas are not qualified to become state witnesses.
Tingin ko hindi. Tingin ko hindi siya qualified na maging state witness kasi una sa lahat, hindi naman matutuloy po yung mga payoffs kung hindi sila kasali. Hindi ba? So, I think 3 bahagi yan eh. So, yung pong contractor na kumuha po ng cheque, yung pong DPWH na talagang nag-ayos po ng mga proyekto, at kung meron hong sangkot na politiko, edi magkakasama ho sila ng mga principals dapat sa kung anumang kaso na isasampalaban sa kanila. Hindi sila yung least guilty.
Under Republic Act number 6981, requirements must be met for an individual to become a state witness. That includes there is an absolute necessity for the testimony. His testimony can be substantially corroborated on its material points. There is no other source of direct evidence. Applicant has no previous conviction of any crime involving moral turpitude, and that the accused seeking to be a state witness must appear as not the most guilty. On the same day, Mamamayang Liberal Party List Representative Leila de Lima, along with other House lawmakers, filed House Bill number 4453, aiming to create an independent commission to investigate the misuse of funds for flood control and other infrastructure projects. Mobile Journal, Arles de los Santos. We are One News.
Now, let's head over to the House of Representatives for more updates. We have Mobile Journal, Amy Atienza reporting for us now live on the ground. Amy, what's the latest?
Yes, good morning, Angela Jeco. Kung babalikan lang muna natin yung usapan sa Department of Public Works and Highways, inanunsyo na kanina dito sa House Committee on Appropriations budget briefing na imumove nga daw yung deadline ng DPWH para sa kanilang revised budget proposal kasi originally nakaset to ng September 12 pero nagkaroon ng motion na imove nga ito to September 15 and kasabay nun, syempre, imumove din yung magiging second budget hearing ng DPWH to September 17 na originally nakaset naman ng September 16. Pero yun nga, bukod dyan, kasi pinapakinggan din natin ngayon kung ano nga ba ang nagiging budget proposal naman ng Department of Social Welfare and Development kasama nga ang House Appropriations Committee at nakita rin natin at narinig natin na nananatiling 4Ps ang flagship project ng DSWD para sa 2026. Meron kasing 223 billion pesos na budget na ibinigay para sa DSWD according yan sa NEP, no. At yun nga 113 billion pesos ang nilalaan ng DSWD para sa 4Ps. At kung mababalikan lang din natin, no, in the past few months nakita rin natin kasi naging malaking usapin yung zero budget para sa AKAP program ng DSWD. And so far, wala pa tayong naririnig kung ano nga ba magiging plano dito. Pero nagiging, ayon din sa mga ulat, syempre nasabi na rin na meron daw kasing unused funds for 2025 na pwede pang magamit for 2026 tungkol dito sa AKAP. So patuloy pa rin na nagiging diskusyon, open din naman daw ang Kamara kung gusto nga bang dagdagan ng DSWD itong budget para sa AKAP.
Alright, maraming salamat, Amy Atienza reporting from the House of Representatives.
Pag-asa is monitoring a low-pressure area of Camarines Norte. To get more details, we have Pag-asa weather specialist John Manalo. John!
Magandang umaga po at ganoon din sa ating mga taga-subaybay. Itong low-pressure area na ating minomonitor ay nasa coastal waters. Kapag sinabi po natin na nasa coastal waters, around 60 kilometers around dito sa Vinsons, Camarines Norte. At dahil nga dito, kasama yung easterlies na ating na nakakaapekto ngayon sa ating bansa ay magiging maulap yung malaking bahagi ng Southern Luzon. Kasama dyan yung Metro Manila, Bicol Region, Calabarzon, pati yung probinsya ng Isabela, Quirino at ganoon din dito sa Mindoro at Oriental Mindoro at Marinduque. Ibig sabihin mataas yung tsansa ng mga pag-ulan. At dito naman sa Metro Manila ay magpe-persist na magiging maulap. So yung pag tinignan natin sa labas at puro kaulapan yung nakikita natin, ang ibig sabihin nun ay, ang tawag dito ay overcast. Pero hindi ibig sabihin nun ay wala ng tsansa na sumikat pa yung araw. Posible na sumilap pa rin ito. Pero throughout the day ay magpe-persist na magiging maulap at nakikita natin na magpapatuloy ito hanggang bukas.
Yeah.
Yan po yung ating update. Apo.
Yeah, John, kasi ito nakikita ko sa likod, no. Sa tama ka, makulimlim kasi kanina umaga malakas ang ulan. So itong binanggit mo, ito yung cause nito?
Opo. Bali nasa southwest monsoon season pa rin tayo, pero that doesn't mean na southwest monsoon pa rin yung nakakaapekto sa atin. Ang mas dominant na nakakaapekto sa atin sa kasalukuyan ay yung easterlies or yung mainit na hangin na galing sa Pacific Ocean.
Ang question ko kasi dyan is, although sinasabi na Pag-asa ka easterlies ang dominant, pero napapansin kasi na marami, the weather isn't as hot as summer. Parang medyo, it's even cool nga sometimes sa umaga.
Opo. Bali, sa kasalukuyan po kasi nasa transition tayo. Nakikita natin yung mga signals ng transition papunta dito sa amihan. Pero somewhat medyo early pa yung stage para sabihin natin na officially transition na papunta tayo. So minomonitor pa rin natin. So ibig sabihin nito, may iba't ibang atmospheric system na sa kasalukuyan ay nakaka-impluwensya sa atin dito sa ating bansa. At yun din yung nagko-contribute. Mainly yung LPA at yung easterlies yung nagkukos ng mga kaulapan na ito na nagdudulot din ng mga pag-ulan.
Para mas malinaw lang tayo, Sir John, itong LPA na to, mataas ba yung tsansa na maging bagyo and other weather disturbances na namomonitor natin kung meron man?
Ayan, salamat po sa pag-mention yan. Mahalaga po na ma-include natin, no? Itong low pressure area na ito ay short-lived lang natin kino-consider. Ibig sabihin po nun, panandalian lang. Sa mga susunod na oras ay nakikita natin habang papalapit pa ito sa kalupaan ay posible na ito na mag-dissipate o malusaw.
And nakailang bagyo na pala tayo, Sir John? Hindi ko na maalala eh. Tapos ilan pa ba yung maaari nating asahan? Hindi naman po sa, 'di ba, na gusto natin, but of course we want to know para makapaghanda tayo.
Opo, bali nakadalawa na po tayo pero yung inaasahan natin for this month ng September ay 2 to 4. Pero gusto rin natin i-communicate po, no? Yan na yung 2 to 4 na number na ina-expect natin for this month ay based on historical data, climatological analysis. Ibig sabihin, kapag umabot na tayo ng 4 for this month, that doesn't mean na wala nang papasok. So posible pa rin na may plus minus pa din na, halimbawa, pwede pa rin na umabot ng 5 sa ngayong buwan at posible din naman na hindi umabot ng 4.
Pero
Last thing, regarding that, gusto ko lang parang maliwanagan din yung viewers. How do you count yung storms? Pwede ba yung nabuo siya, naging tropical depression, tapos hindi tumama sa landmass, pero counted na yon as isang bagyo?
Bali, kinakount po natin dito na magiging bagyo kapag naging at least tropical depression siya at yung development niya ay nangyari sa loob ng Philippine Area of Responsibility. Ibig sabihin, kapag hindi siya pumasok sa PAR, o kaya yung development niya na maging tropical depression, pinakamahinang kategory ng bagyo, ay hindi natin siya i-count na bagyo sa loob ng dito sa Pag-asa. So, ibig sabihin, kahit na may bagyo pero nasa labas siya ng PAR, hindi po natin ito i-count na dun sa 2 to 4 na number.
Siyempre, tanong din ng ating mga kapatid, kailan matatapos ang ang habagat season?
Opo, usually September ay minsan umabot ng September and early October, pero October po yung specific months na based on historical data sa mga studies na ginawa natin, yun po yung buwan na kung saan nagkakaroon na tayo ng transition.
Amihan
At by November, December, January, February, yun na po yung amihan. Ibig sabihin, mas malamig na hangin na yung makaka-impluwensya sa atin at yung mga pag-ulan natin ay mas dominated na o mas marami na dito sa eastern part ng ating bansa.
Okay, John, lastly on my part, since yung sinasabi mo, transition phase tayo, do we expect yung mga parating na bagyo or mga weather system ay mas mag-intensify or mas hihina?
Sa kasalukuyan po kasi ay yung isa sa mga nagko-contribute sa strength ng mga bagyo ay yung ENSO condition. Ito po yung El Nino Southern Oscillation, yung El Nino tsaka La Nina. Sa kasalukuyan ay nasa La Nina watch tayo at yung nakikita natin na characteristics ay hindi siya La Nina-like condition. Ibig sabihin, mataas yung sea surface temperature surrounding, yung temperatura ng dagat sa paligid ng Pilipinas, mas mataas ng bahagya. Kaya yung formation ng mga bagyo ay mas malapit sa Pilipinas at mas mahina.
Mas
as compared
mahina.
dun sa mga nag-form during El Nino. So, ibig sabihin, hindi po ganun kalalakas yung nakikita natin sa kasalukuyang atmospheric condition.
Okay.
Alright, with that, maraming salamat muli sa iyong oras, Pag-asa Weather Specialist John Manalo.
Yun. Mas marami, sabi ni John, pero mas mahina. Okay. Interesting yung mga nasa ENSO condition. May ganun na tayo. Alright.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
A heated budget debate has put Davao City Representative Paulo Duterte in the spotlight. Lawmakers revealed his district received over 51 billion pesos in flood control projects at the height of the pandemic. Here's the report.
At the House Committee on Infrastructure hearing on Tuesday, it was revealed that Davao City Representative Paulo Duterte's district received over 51 billion pesos worth of flood control projects at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Public Works Undersecretary for Planning Maria Catalina Cabral confirmed the allocations. After lawmakers pressed her to state them on record, Cabral admitted the figures were based on official budget documents covering 2020 to 2022. Records show flood control allocations for Duterte's district swelled far beyond the original proposals. In 2021 alone, from the proposed 9.67 billion pesos, it ballooned to 25 billion pesos in the enacted law. House Deputy Speaker Janet Garin raised concerns, questioning whether the money should have gone instead to life-saving medicines and equipment when the country was under health crisis. In response, Duterte maintained that his district's projects are on the ground, built, and being used by the people. stressing that Davao has nothing to hide. He said lawmakers should have focused on DPWH officials who admitted to giving payola to certain government officials, instead of zeroing in on the allocation for his district during his father's presidency. He challenged his critics to also open their own budgets and projects to public scrutiny, saying corruption is not confined to Davao.
Now, Senator Ping Lacson reveals that the so-called Bulacan group of contractors have squandered nearly 1 billion pesos in casinos. Here's the report.
Parang nakinikinita ko na, Mr. President, na nagtatawanan pa ang mga matatalinong matching na ito habang nagbibiyahe papuntang kasino, dala ang kwartang kinulimbat habang naglilimas ng tubig baha, papalabas ng kanilang mga bahay ang mga pobreng taga Bulacan.
Blatant, shameless, without conscience. That was the fiery statement of Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson against several DPWH Bulacan officials accused of squandering billions in casinos. Lacson exposed the so-called BGC boys, or Bulacan Group of Contractors, a ring of 5 officials allegedly consumed by gambling and corruption. Identified were Henry Alcantara, alias Joseph Castro Villegas, Bryce Erickson Hernandez, alias Marvin Santos de Guzman, JP Mendoza, alias PJ Castro Asuncion, RJ Domasig, alias Sandro Bernardo Park, and Edric San Diego. They reportedly used fake names and IDs to enter casinos. Based on documents, the group spent an estimated 950 million pesos in various casinos in Metro Manila, Cebu, and Pampanga.
Habang lubog pa rin sa tubig baha ang mga taga Bulacan dahil sa mga pangungurakot na mga ito, sige pa rin ang pagpapasasa ng BGC Boys sa pagwawaldas ng pera ng taong bayan. Walang kahiya-hiya sa katawan. Wala pong konsyensya ang mga ito, Mr. President.
Lacson added the group curiously managed to win nearly 500 million pesos in casinos. Too lucky perhaps? Or was there something else at play?
Sinuwerto nga ba sabay-sabay na nanalo ang mga ito, Mr. President? O baka naman money laundering scheme? May report kami at ito ay amin pang binabalidate na peke lang ang pagdeklara nilang panalo.
The controversy doesn't stop at gambling. Even their projects raised red flags like this 92 million peso flood control project in Barangay Perez, Bulacan. It was awarded on December 17, 2024. Just 3 days later, by December 20, it was already reported as 46% complete.
2 araw, Ginoong Pangulo, halos nangangalahati na agad sila sa accomplishment. May pambihirang talento at unusual speed pala ang mga taga-Sims Construction. O baka may magic, Christmas magic, dahil magpapasko na.
3 months later, the firm claimed 89% completion, even though photos showed barely any progress.
No-brainer, ika nga, maliwanag na iisa ang larawan na ginamit at sinumite para sa 2 progress billings ng Sims.
The most explosive revelation, Global Crete Builders, which allegedly cornered over 2.2 billion pesos worth of flood control projects. According to Lacson, the company is owned by the family of Candaba Mayor Rene Maglanque. Global Crete is also linked to MBB Global Properties, whose officials include the children of high-ranking government figures, including DPWH's Bonoan. The company president is Mayor Maglanque's son. The corporate secretary is the daughter of retired DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo. The treasurer, Bonoan's own child.
Kaya naman pala ang palaging depensa ni dating DPWH Secretary Bonoan, isolated case lang daw. Ayaw na siguro ni Bonoan na maungkat pa sa investigasyon ang Global Crete.
Neither Bonoan nor Maglanque has issued a statement. Lacson, meanwhile, called for criminal charges to be filed against everyone involved, whether contractors, DPWH officials, or even lawmakers.
Ngayon,
BGC.
BGC. Alam mo yung style ng BGC, di ba? Nasa movie na yan eh. So, ang gagawin mo when you launder
Washing off the money.
di ba? You take in, for example, 1 billion, di ba? tas sa 1 billion cash in ka, whether manalo matalo ka, it doesn't matter, di ba? So, maglalaro ka ng konti, wala kang pakialam kung manalo matalo, tapos, ang importante sa kanila kasi yung cash out.
Yeah.
The moment you cash out kasi, may resibo ka. So, kung question ka, kunyari, for example, sa SALN, or you can attach the receipt and say, I gambled. Sabi ni Alcantara, nag-gamble ako ng 150,000. Sa 150,000 ko, kaya lumago. So, sasabihin nila, ito yung resibo. Pero hindi alam na mga ito, I don't wanna call them, even kasi monkeys are decent. Even monkeys are decent creatures di ba sabi? Anyway, ang ano kasi dito is, nakita ng mga senador, Ping Lacson, ng mga hearing, yung cash in nila.
Yes.
Hindi ba nila naisip na makikita yung cash in?
Di ba ibang mga ginagawa pa nila, mas mataas pa yung nagiging cash out nila. Isipin mo, asan ba yung binabasa ko sa'yo kanina na parang, okay, nawala dito yung binabasa ko Okay. Ayan, so nag-cash in si Hernandez. Nag-cash in siya, kinonvert yung cash niya to chips, 659.9 million. Diba? Paglabas, kakash out siya, ang dala na niya is 1.3 billion. Can you imagine?
Okay, Bryce,
mas mataas pa yung yung kinash out niya.
Yeah, ibig sabihin kasi ang pinapalabas nila diyan is kumita sila. Pero ang
nanalo.
Oo, pero ang explanation ni Bryce kasi mga unang statement pa lang niya, pagpasok daw ng casino, hiwalay-hiwalay sila nagka-cash in. Pag nag-cash in na daw sila, and when they start to hit the tables, si Alcantara daw, si former DA District Engineer Alcantara, namimigay pa ulit ng chips na okay, umupo kayo table sandali, ito chips, cash out ka na. So yung dalang pera ni Bryce sa resibo niya, kunya nag-cash in siya ng ganito, pag nag-cash out siya, dinagdagan siya ni Alcantara. So pag nag-cash out siya, mukhang tumubo. But if you check daw the per table report where they gamble, yung kasi may per table report yan tsaka CCTV, wala naman daw significant winnings. So,
yun nga daw, kapag sabi din nila Senator Lacson, pinapa-investigate niya kasi there are also talks.
And they were banned, They were banned.
Oo, there are also talks na yung allegedly yung mga talo nila is not really talo. So parang pinapalabas lang na talo sila pero talagang
ikot-ikot ang chips.
Oo, umiikot-ikot yung pera nila. Tapos itong si Hernandez, si Bryce Hernandez, parang last seen pa siya sa isang casino sa Metro Manila noong September 1 during the first hearing ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee.
Maghuhugas.
Imagine.
Maghuhugas na. Alright, a reorganization of key committee chairmanships took place in the Senate following the election of Senate President Tito Soto. Senator Ping Lacson now heads the Blue Ribbon Committee, replacing Senator Rodante Marcoleta. Senator Loren Legarda takes over the Committee on National Defense from Senator Jinggoy Estrada and the Committees on Accounts and Higher Technical and Vocational Education from Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. Senator Raffy Tulfo now leads the Committee on Labor and Employment, replacing Senator Amy Marcos. Senator J.V. Ejercito replaces Senator Bato de la Rosa as Chair of Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, while Senator Risa Hontiveros succeeds Senator Bongo as Chair of Health and Demography. Ejercito and Hontiveros were also named Deputy Majority Leaders. Villanueva and Marcoleta were elected Deputy Minority Leaders.
And for the latest at the Senate, let's bring in our mobile journalist, Merimon Reyes. Merimon, kamusta naman? Ano mga reaction ng mga senador dyan sa kanilang mga committee chairmanship?
Nag-ikot-ikot ang mga pwesto, Merimon.
Oo nga, Angela, Diego. At yung karamihan dito, yung ang pinakahumahawak mula sa Duterte Block, even yung Committee on Health from Sen Bongo, napunta kay Senator Risa. Pero ikinagalak din naman at bukas naman si Senator Risa na kunin din si Senator Bongo bilang chairperson, co-chairperson niya dito sa komite. So far, smooth pa naman yung relasyon nitong mga senador sa isa't isa. Pero ngayong umaga, katatapos lang ng budget briefing ng Senate Committee on Finance patungkol sa budget ng Office of the President at mabilis na inaprubahan nila yung 27.3 billion na proposed 2026 national budget ng office, ng budget mismo ng Office of the President. At yung isang malaking factor dito, yung 72% na increase compared sa last year kasi 15.84 billion pesos yung budget ng OP. Ngayon, naging 27.3 siya. Pero ang malaking factor din kasi dyan is yung hosting daw ng bansa sa ASEAN Summit maging sa iba pang mga meetings. At ang nasabi pa nga raw, around 11 heads of state as of now ang kumpirmadong pupunta. Kaya diyan, around 10 billion pesos ang maaring or more ang maaring magamit para nga dito sa pag-oorganisa ng ASEAN. At ang isa pang consideration nila dito is yung cybersecurity na posibleng kakailanganin daw. Kaya even yung ilang mga senador doon sa komite, kasama na dyan sina Senator Erwin Tulfo, parang tinitignan kung maaari pa raw palawigin yung budget for cybersecurity purposes at yung iba pang kakailanganin para masiguro raw na secured at maayos ang ASEAN Summit, maging ibang meetings na kinalaman na dito. Kaalis lang din ni Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin at natanong din natin siya patungkol sa mga ito, sa kanyang speech naman kanina. Sinisiguro niya naman daw na itong budget ng Office of the President ay magagamit sa mga programa, sa mga proyekto nito and yung mga priorities. Kasama na nga itong ASEAN Summit at meetings.
All right, thank you for that report. Mobile Journal Merimon Reyes reporting live from the Senate. Don't go away because we're not done yet. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon flagged substandard and alleged ghost flood control projects in Oriental Mindoro. He vowed that all those responsible will be held accountable. Here is the report.
Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon said the agency is finalizing its proposed 2026 budget. In an interview with The Big Story, he said the budget will be formally submitted on September 15. He also disclosed 3 ghost flood control projects in Oriental Mindoro, which he believes were carried out by a syndicate-like group. Dizon compared their methods and operations to those of the so-called Bulacan Group of Contractors or BGC Boys, noting striking similarities.
What I saw was a very, very substandard project that was not coordinated and planned with the local government unit or the province. What I also did not see were 3 supposed projects in 2024, totaling roughly about 750 million pesos.
The Secretary vowed that all officials and personnel linked to irregularities in flood control projects will be held accountable regardless of rank.
It doesn't matter if you're an undersecretary, assistant secretary, director, regional director, district engineer. If we see that you have done something wrong, sorry, you're going to be dismissed and eventually cases are going to be filed against you. It's that simple. That's what the President said. The time to talk is done. Now it's all about quick and swift action.
Meanwhile, in a separate interview with 1PH sa Totoo Lang, Dizon admitted difficulties in finding trustworthy staff within the agency.
Ang mahirap lang kasi dito, hindi ko alam kasi kung sino pwede kong pagkatiwalaan eh. Mag-isa pa lang ako dito ngayon, no? Hindi pa na-appoint yung ating mga recommending team, no? Although tumutulong na silang paunti-unti, pero syempre, habang hindi sila na-appoint, hindi sila pwedeng pumunta sa mga opisina, hindi sila pwedeng mga ng dokumento.
He added that he will meet with former DPWH secretaries, including Senator Mark Villar, to understand the department's challenges.
Nag-aayos lang po kami ng schedule, pero kailangan ko po kasing marinig at maintindihan lahat ng mga dating umupo dito sa upuan ko ngayon. Sasabihin ko sa inyo, pagpasok ko dito, litong-lito na ako. Hilong-hilo na ako kasi napakagulo nitong institusyon na ito. Ngayon ako nakakita ng ganito.
For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
Excitement builds as the FIVB Men's Volleyball World Championship opens on September 12 with Alas Pilipinas ready for action. Mobile Journal Denise Valdez Sancho has the report.
Supporters, volunteers, media partners, and players were given the experience to explore the National Museum of National History on Monday, as the much-anticipated FIVB Men's Volleyball World Championship is underway. With 4 days left, the Alas Pilipinas is nothing but prepared.
I think that we are pretty confident. Filipino never been in the first championship in their volleyball life. And so there will be emotion, I don't know. So we don't have anything to lose to be on this experience.
Approximately 9,000 spectators are expected come opening day, said PNVF President Tatsuzara.
I think we are on time to finish all the schedule. Especially we have a
an exciting opening ceremony at 4:30 on September 12. And there'll be a surprise guest during the opening ceremony. I won't tell it because it's very confidential, but somebody will do the ceremonial serve on Friday.
The national team is set to kick off the opening day this September 12 with a match against Tunisia and an opening day performance by K-pop group Boy Next Door.
What I am telling to the Filipino, please come, we need you because we can fight together against Tunisia. Don't let us alone to fight against Tunisia.
Mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho. We are One News.
The stage is set for the FIVB Men's World Championship as some of the world's top volleyball teams touch down in Manila. Mobile Journal Ivan Tarinque has the details.
Men's volleyball powerhouses are starting to arrive in Manila for the upcoming FIVB Men's World Championship, which kicks off on September 12. World number 11 Team Canada arrived in the country Monday afternoon with the goal of winning it all and taking the trophy back to the land of maple syrup. The men expect a tough matchup in their group, opening against Asian volleyball powerhouse Team Japan and North African squad Libya. Their countless friendly games against different teams have prepared them for the unique style of volleyball each country brings.
I think guys are excited, and we know what to do to make it to the next round, and we just got to go out there and play our game.
Another Pool G team also arrived late Monday evening. World number 16 Team Turkey brought their strong fighting spirit to Manila for the upcoming tournament. The team underwent a 4-month training camp starting in May to be fully prepared for the World Championship. They admitted to facing challenges during the camp, including countless injuries that plague the team. Still, they remain focused on the group stages as they aim to secure a spot in the next round.
We will show our superpower. We have very good potential players. We have so many high-level players. We try to do our best.
Canada and Turkey will face each other on September 14 at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. Meanwhile, host nation Alas Pilipinas opens the tournament against Tunisia this Friday at the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay. Mobile Journal Ivan Tarinque, we are One News.
And that wraps up today's action-packed episode of News and Views.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.